Texas Podcast Massacre contains spoilers and adult language. For more horror, visit us at our website at texaspodcastmassacre.com. This is Texas Podcast Massacre.
Welcome to another episode of Texas Podcast Massacre, coming to you from Houston, Texas. I'm your host, Mitch, and with me, as always, are my favorite Lovecraftian creatures, Lisa.
Please, be quiet.
And Nate.
Well, that's way culty.
A little bit, right?
Culty.
Yeah. It
Thank you.
felt a little cult-like. I know. So we're going to
wrap this party up. I got to go to bed.
You can say that people had quite a distinct culture involved in their commune.
This is going to be really bad on my part. I never realized culture had cult.
Yeah.
Is that where they get the word culture?
Yeah. Sometimes it's difficult to figure out where this word is. And things.
Well, welcome to this cult of personality known as Texas Podcast.
That was way on the nose.
Wait, if it's fine. Welcome to another episode of Texas Podcast Massacre, where each week we take a look at a different horror movie and debate a horror-related topic with our unsuspecting victim, who is usually someone that we would not call a horror fan. This week, we keep this all in the family as we decide to throw back some Kool-Aid or craft beers, either or, with other fellow cultists and review The Endless. It's a brand new, pretty much a VOD kind of release film. Just came out recently, I guess, yeah?
Yeah, right at the top of the iTunes independent charts. So This movie's doing super well.
We watched it on Amazon Prime. For those of you that need to go watch it.
Yes, it was available on Amazon Prime.
To rent?
Yes, to rent. Yeah.
But as always, like we do every week, before we get into this movie, I do have a question to ask you both.
We will see how the Lord favors you.
No, you dare not blaspheme. He will punish you. The jaws of hell will devour you. All of you.
No. I still contend that's one of the more successful cults, Children of the Corn, that we've reviewed in this show.
Yeah.
Most cults are fairly successul. We're gonna get into it. This is like the cult in this movie is the least culty cult in cultdom.
Sure, that was a set.
These aren't as obvious. Anyway, all right. So my question is: this movie is very much focused on two brothers who go through a lot of sort of craziness throughout this movie that we'll get into in our actual review part. But this movie is really kind of focusing on the relationship between the brothers, really between, families, and how the people that sometimes you're supposed to be closest with, maybe you aren't being as open or truthful, maybe because you think you're protecting them or doing what's best for them, and it's not really, right? My question then is, since we all have siblings, how do you feel that you and your sibling would do in this set of scenarios? And Lisa, I'll kick it off to you. So, we've had your younger sister, Linda, as an unsuspecting victim on the show. How do you think y'all would do in this situation?
Well, real quick, before we get into that, I just want to make sure, Lisa, you and your sister have not been in a cult before, correct?
I can neither confirm nor deny.
I was going to say, because I don't want unfair advantage.
To be fair,
I know about cults already.
To be fair, though,
I don't know you before. It's only known you for a certain amount of years.
Lisa, so. Not as bad as Texas A&M, but Lisa did attend UT Longhorns. Pretty cult.
You can't spell cult without UT. That's a true statement.
Oh my gosh.
That's a wrap. All right. That's it for this one. Yeah. So you and
I'm about to walk away from this cult.
You and Linda are riding Bevo down the road. And how do you think you do in this situation?
We're not in a Lincoln.
You could be in a Lincoln, I guess, with Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah.
I got where you were going with that. That's a UT reference.
All right.
Yeah, there you go. UT fans, you're well represented. Or at least just represented. Okay. Anyway, go ahead.
I don't know. I think we would do pretty well.
Wait, hold on.
I think we would do well because I don't think we would have gone back.
So what does pretty well mean? Pretty well means like you start running the cult, or
no? Pretty well means I don't think
like you well adjust outside of the cult.
Outside of the cult.
Got it.
Yeah, I think we could have adjusted outside and not wanted to go back.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think. But I feel like I related a lot to the big brother, because a big brother is just trying to take care of his little brother and be like, look, I want to do what's best for you. This is not what's best for you. I feel like I would do the same thing. I would try and do what's best for us. But I honestly feel like we're both the type of people we wouldn't have gone back. We'd have been like, I'm good. No.
Okay. Nate.
Yeah. So my sibling and I are about 7-ish years apart.
Okay.
So we're not quite as tight. So I don't think we would even be living together in the first place. Like how this movie happens.
The way in this particular movie, imagine that you have been raised by a cult for some set of years.
Okay. So I guess, so to set this up, the beginning of the movie, they're living together and they get a tape from their old cult, which they escaped 10 years ago.
Right.
So if we escaped, this would be even more interesting, because if we escaped our age difference, it would be more. Although, what is the age difference to these guys in this movie? How old? So there's the younger one is Aaron, right? And the older one's Justin.
I feel like maybe 2 or 3 years.
Is it only 2 or 3 years?
Yeah, I feel
like
they're
he
pretty
was
close.
more involved and the other guy wasn't.
Age is just a number, man. All right.
God.
But I don't know. Yeah, they don't really get into the age difference.
No, I say, yeah.
Okay.
Not super far apart.
Okay, yeah. So for me, it would be farther apart.
I'd probably say closer, Nate, to yours and my difference, and then Lisa's maybe. I think it's at least 5.
Okay.
Because he had to have been young. Like, they left, right? Like, they left this cult. He had to have been young enough to not really remember anything.
Exactly.
The older brother does remember a lot.
Oh, you see the old video, and he looked kind of oldish.
Yeah,
who knows?
Who knows?
But okay, so I would say, because of our age thing, and because my sister would probably not listen to me, that she would just stay at the cult. Probably. If we ended up going back, I feel like it would just be, or she would leave without me to go to the cult back.
Yeah, so
I
She
don't
would
think
just
we
be
would.
like, forget you. I'm
I don't
going.
think we would fare well. Probably.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you. I think so. I've got 2 siblings, so I'll answer for both. My brother, who is 11 years older than I am, would absolutely leave me behind in the cult. I pass unsuspecting victim. If you've heard the Halloween 3 episode, you have a taste of what I've dealt with for 32 years.
Yeah.
He would. This is a guy that when I was applying for grad school, I am 21. Imagine a 21-year-old Mitch. He's getting ready to graduate. He's applying to Rice University, other grad programs, and he goes for a college campus with his big brother. His big brother's driving him around, and he says, "Hey, Mitch, I'm lost. Can you get out and go look at the campus sign map so I know where I need to drive to?" I look at my brother and I say, "Hey, Bill, don't drive off without me, because I know that's what you're going to do." Bill looks at me and says, "Hey, no, come on, man. We're here.
Yeah.
We're trying to figure out if this is the right fit for you. I come on. It's in like when you were younger and I used to drive off when I'd make you get the mail from the mailbox at the end of the street."
Yeah.
Which he did, and made me walk all the way home while slowly leading me.
Cardio, you're welcome. So.
Yeah, a young child crying, walking back, not really great cardio.
You still got your steps.
True. It's true. I'll give him that. So I get out of the car, and I just get out of the car knowing that he's going to pull off. Sure enough, he drives off. after like minutes of us just going like, "Bill, don't drive off without me. Just don't do that. I'm not going to. Don't do it. I'm not going to." He does. Of course he does.
Jesus. You guys are dead in this movie. You are dead.
We definitely don't make it back to the cult by any stretch.
You turned the gun on him at one point in this movie. It seems
my
like
gosh.
it probably seems like that's more accurate.
So Lisa, you say you relate to the older brother. I definitely relate to the younger brother who's just like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna stay here." you just go. You go.
Depends if you're an older or younger. So Lisa and I are both older.
Yeah, see, I'm the youngest. So my sister's older as well, 9 years older than me. I feel like I would fare better. I feel like
she would not leave you behind.
Here's maybe how I feel. I think that Ashley and I would work a lot better together.
Okay.
I think me and my brother maybe have a better chance of survival. Because I inevitably put my foot in my mouth with my sister, and then we would just get in a fight. So she would probably leave me. The short story is my family would leave me behind.
Okay.
My brother and sister would team up and leave me behind.
You know who wouldn't leave you behind, Mitch? Your podcast family. Damn.
No, I need him to help raise this child. I can't leave him behind.
Shit, you're needed. You need this commune to keep going, so you have to stay.
Yeah. I just make a pledge not to go to any cults anytime soon.
So for you, this movie is a short film. It's like, hey, everything's good, right? We're gonna get rid out of the cult, and then the whole movie happens in their van, and it's like, we're gonna get out of here. Don't worry. Oh, I need your help pushing this to start it. And then he
as soon as they hit the hill, they just go.
He's gone, and you're just sitting there in the dust in the background.
Yeah.
End scene.
I will say, my brother, God bless him, I know he would want to help, but he is not going to pass up the opportunity for a prank or a joke. He just, regardless of the situation, regardless of what's happening around us, if there's an opportunity to make fun of me,
time and time again, he would prank you.
This is the same brother who taught his young 4-year-old son. So there's a children's museum here in Houston, and I went with him and my nephew, and they have a Vietnamese fishing exhibit.
Oh, okay, cool.
I don't know why.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's not bad, but there's little plastic fish, and he basically taught my nephew to throw the fish at my junk. The nephew actually hit, and my brother laughed, almost wet himself. He was laughing so hard at that. So,
welcome to Texas therapy session.
Yeah, Texas therapy.
We're gonna work some shit out this
Texas
week.
Family Massacre.
We're gonna call Bill and up right now, work some shit out. No. So I don't think I wouldn't survive. I think my brother and sister would probably be fine though.
Okay,
so there's that.
Well.
So
all's well that ends well.
I feel like I lost, which is kind of a trend lately in these last few years.
So I think Lisa and her sister would probably do the best out of us.
I think so.
Or I feel like that you guys are a little more ambitious, that you might try to just take over the cult and be the leaders of the cult.
That's a possibility.
So maybe
too.
my sister and I are the best ones off. Maybe. So me and Mitch's brother live. And then everyone else dies.
See, but I'm going to jump into part of the movie. Linda has a degree in mathematics from MIT. So I think she would have solved that equation by now. I think we would have gotten it.
I don't know. This guy,
if you solve the equation, then you wouldn't want to leave.
Yeah, we're chomping at the bit to get into this. So I just say, y'all, let's just get into it. So
families suck. All right,
this
week's
movie, Jesus,
and Nate's sister's never going to be on the podcast.
Yeah.
I love you, sister.
Well, actually, we want to hear from you if you think your family would do well, or if you also have kind of a sometimes D-bag older brother. Let us know about your experience. If you think it would turn
into what's it, Chevy Chase's Vacation?
Yeah.
Let us know.
Yeah, let us know at TX Pod Massacre. This is a good time to just remind everyone that we are on iTunes, we are on Spotify, we are on Google Play. I think we're on Spreaker. I mean, we're pretty much everywhere. Definitely subscribe, like, and rate and review us. The more ratings and reviews we get, the higher up we'll stay on the iTunes chart, and so more people will listen and join in with us.
We're trying to cultivate our following. Agreed.
Yes.
Hit that drop. Just go.
I don't even know which one. I'm so proud I would hit all of them.
All right, so let's get into this movie. I'm excited.
All right. This week's movie of the week is The Endless.
There is something bigger than us out here.
We have many traditions here at Camp Arcadia. None more prominent than the struggle. We have the struggle with passion.
In your own words, what is it?
Struggle with growth.
I don't have answers. None of us do.
How is that possible?
Struggle with the higher power.
You want to know what it is that runs all this. You go find it.
If you let it have you, it'll snatch you right out of your shoes.
I want to go back.
That place is not what you think it is. She lied to you.
We couldn't be happier.
I saw some things last night.
There's something out here, isn't there?
Couldn't be happier.
Yeah, there is.
Happier, 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 happier.
Woo. Who's next?
Yeah, that is the movie we are discussing this week. Lisa, as our unsuspecting victim, you have to try to explain to someone, anyone, what the hell this movie's about. What do you tell them?
Two dum-dums decide to go back to the cult that they escaped.
Mm-hmm.
And consequences ensue.
Yeah, I mean,
That is it.
That is
very specific.
Yeah.
No, yep. Yeah, so I was told, so Nate brought this one up. It's always kind of back and forth. The way our movie schedule gets built is Nate and I will review a movie. Lisa does not put any up there because she doesn't really want to do any of these.
I picked Saw.
She did pick Saw, but a lot of times it's Harry Potter or she tries to sneak
Prisoner
in.
of Azkaban is a little creepy if you're a kid.
No, I mean, Goblet of Fire maybe would be. I mean, the dude comes back from the dead. That's at least zombie, some sort of zombie.
God,
thing.
we are. I don't want to give you false hope, Lisa.
Am I starting a spin-off podcast?
Yeah.
Maybe.
The Godric Hollow Massacre.
I mean, if I just start off by saying, hey,
that would be awesome.
There are
let's do it.
there are headless ghosts floating around these old decrepit
these things
buildings.
Suck your soul like that.
Welcome to the last episode, Texas Podcast Massacre. We will
For
now
the
be
rebrand.
switching gears.
No.
Hufflepuff bitches.
So, Nate, tell us a little bit about The Endless.
And by little bit, I don't have a whole lot in this movie, so
No.
this will be fast.
This
movie-
Harry Potter thing would
So this
be
movie
endless
came
if we
out
went down that
this
road.
year. It was in theaters. It made about $230,000. I mean, it got released technically last year.
Did you say theaters in plural? Like,
Yes, theater.
Okay.
Theaters.
I didn't know if it was like,
As our friend would
because
say.
I figured it's like a limited release maybe, but
Yeah, limited release. But I mean, it came out in the festival circuit last year, but this
Okay.
is the year it actually was in the theaters and is now just released. It's a 6.6 on IMDb, but on Rotten Tomatoes right now, it is a 97%.
Wow.
That is-
77% audience score. So now it comes at night because the audience
All
score
right.
is too high.
I'll let you finish, but I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know. I just feel like
All right, Kanye, what's happening?
no.
here?
Here's my issue. I want to take a look at Rotten Tomatoes score aggregator. I feel like so many movies lately are all 90 or above, and that just seems way too high in a general totality of all movies that
That's
come
why
out.
you have to look at IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes together to get a good idea. So 6.6 on IMDb and 97 on that.
Not,
so it gives you a
I'm,
good
I'm not
idea.
about to say fake reviews, but there's got to be some fake reviews in there. Come on, some of these people are maybe not in this movie in particular.
Maybe they're-
I'm railing more about in general.
Mitch, are you
so-
saying they're rating it over and over again? Foreshadowing.
Do I need to just do the 9 Inch Nails drop?
No.
You know?
The directors of this movie were Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead,
Yep.
and they play Justin and Aaron in this movie. So they're the main leads. They are the co-directors, the writers, and the cinematographer. I mean, they did everything for this.
Yeah,
movie.
back to my
That's
debate.
the way to do it on a low budget.
Yeah, and this movie's low budget, but it looks fantastic. I think we can agree on that.
Back
it
to
looks
our
solid.
back to our debate question. Do you think you could have directed and co-starred in a movie with your sibling?
No, that's that's
No,
we would
no one
we would
could.
do worse than the cult.
Yeah.
like worse than the cult scenario ends better than the
I'm
directorial
gonna say
scenario.
I feel like my chances are better that way. Yep.
Got it. So they directed Resolution, which actually is kind of part of the world building of this film as well, and the fantastic movie Spring, which I highly recommend. I did not know these guys had done Spring until I looked it up. And they both directed a segment on Mitch's favorite movie, VHS Viral. So the anthology.
Ooh, which one did they do? Do you know?
I do not remember.
That is unfortunate. I actually, usually I am not a fan of anything that you say I'm a fan of, but I mildly enjoyed VHS Viral.
Gotcha. The only real actress that I knew in this movie from anything else was Anna, who's played by Callie Hernandez. She's the one who sends the tape out. Only person I recognize. Did you guys recognize anybody else in this movie?
No.
I mean, I knew the other guys from the other two movies that they were in, but I mean, like I hadn't seen them in anything else.
Yeah, no.
So Hal was in some stuff. He's been in a bunch of TV shows and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. I'm just saying like the main people. Like I guess like some TV stuff, but in general, she was the one that seemed to be in the most stuff. She was in first episode of the podcast, Alien Covenant. Lisa's favorite movie, Machete 2. She was in La La Land, Blair Witch, Sin City 2, 2018's Under the Silver Lake, which is coming out, which looks great, and the Dusk Till Dawn TV show. So she's probably been in the most stuff of anybody here. And the last thing in my notes for this movie is they like Lovecraft a lot.
Well, who doesn't? So, let's get into overall impressions. I will say, just because that's a good segue for me, I will say we've seen a number of movies that have Lovecraftian themes in them. Most notably, The Void, which was void of good reviews from this show. You
just avoid it. It's pretty obvious.
Yeah, easy. I think this actually did the Lovecraft element a lot better than I think The Void and some of the others we've seen have done.
Yes,
I agree on that.
Yeah. Very generally, I like this movie. I think it's scary in the way Lovecraft horror is supposed to be scary. It's that sense of dread and, kind of terror at just, holy shit, this is what's happening. It's not going to be gory. There's no one getting slashed. There's none of that type of horror into it. This is more.
There's a person in a tent that would beg to differ with you.
Well, that's fair.
It's
minimal. I mean, it is more cosmic horror. It is more that type. So I enjoyed it for that aspect alone, if nothing else. Lisa, what were your general thoughts about this one as a non-horror fan?
If any sort of Lovecraftian thing scares you, do not watch this movie. Because we got through half an hour of it last night and then the rest today. Because we had to go to bed because of the kid. I was not doing so good. Just half hour in. So, I don't know. But the Lovecraft stuff scares the hell out of me.
So what about,
what specifically? Yeah, I'm interested.
Yeah.
Okay, now you're giving me great ideas for future episodes right now. So
no.
Yeah.
No.
So for people who don't, how would you describe what Lovecraft horror is to non-horror
these
fans?
Unknown, well, in this case, unknown entity, but usually they're just like huge, giant, world-swallowing monsters.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just, to me, they're terrifying. I can't.
So was
fathom it.
Was this like mythology part of it, of the movie? Is that what was kind of scaring you more, or?
It's both. This one was scary for twofold reasons. One, the Lovecraft monsters scare the heck out of me. And two, I don't want to get too much into it, so maybe we'll save it. But there's another part of the movie that also scares.
Cool.
It keeps me up at night.
Yeah.
I'll put it that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't even need to ask. I think as watching this movie, I was like, oh, Nate loves this. Nate, really?
I don't know.
I thought, okay. So what were your general thoughts?
I'm still not sure how I feel about it.
Okay.
So this is clearly a low budget movie.
Yeah.
Which is fine, which I'm normally the one who likes the low budget movies more than anybody else. But I wish it would have been a little bit more explicit. I know you have to keep it all shadowy.
Thank you.
In the background a little bit. I just wanted a little bit more resolution.
That's what bothered me too.
Just a little bit more. Not you don't got to show everything.
No.
Because if you show everything, then you lose some of the horror elements.
But
right?
they went more, and we'll get to it, so I don't want to give it all away, but the ending is more Inception-y.
Yeah, so let's get into it. I think I know where
the
you're going
fans
with
just
it.
have to figure out what they think happened.
Yeah, so we mentioned in the debate that these are two brothers. They were at one point part of a cult. They received a videotape from the cult saying, "Hey, we're going through the ascension," and they see kind of this circle, which is, I guess, the cult's symbol.
Yeah. Now, did they steal the ascension from the Rick and Morty episode with the giant heads? Show me what you got. You remember that? And then
I don't remember being the ascension. I remember that
they
episode.
tied balloons to the people to ascend.
When they started their weird.
I think they stole those from Rick and Morty. So just letting you just.
I think this one didn't have any balloons though.
I like what you've got.
Yeah, exactly. No,
that was maybe you're right. Yeah. So in this case, ascension is kind of translated as death. But they get this tape, and I think they kind of think, oh well, if we just received this tape, they didn't do that because they left 10 years before
when they thought the ascension was going to happen. Right. Like everyone's going to murder each other. So let's get out of here.
So the brothers are not living a good life right now. They are basically cleaning these houses. I don't know what exactly their jobs are, but it's. I mean, they're eating ramen and
I think
living
they're a cleaning crew.
Yeah, they don't have a house basically. I'm trying to think anything from the beginning that's worth kind of mentioning.
There's tension between the brothers. Obviously, the older brother is ordering the younger brother around quite a bit. And initially when they left, I think there was a lot of fanfare, like, "Oh shit, we want to interview these people who got out of this UFO death cult," which is on a newspaper headline, right?
Because they have to go to deprogramming.
Yeah, and they still go to deprogramming 10 years later, which is that's a lot. It's like, I don't know if did you guys see that movie? Is it like Martha, Mary, Magdalene, something? The one with Elizabeth Olsen. Hold on. Martha, Marcy, May, Marlene. God, man, what a title. But anyway, that was basically
flows right off the tongue.
That was the movie that got Elizabeth Olsen basically like to be like a well-known actress. Like that was like, oh crap, like she's good.
Was it about deprogramming after a cult? Or?
Yeah, it was. So obviously this movie doesn't get into it nearly as much or is as good because it's super low budget, but it kind of reminded me of that a little bit. But yeah, it doesn't seem like they've progressed in 10 years in any way whatsoever.
No. And some of the things I say the cult does, I mean, it's very much Heaven's Gate-ish, you know. They're this death cult. They believe that there's some creature in the woods. They all get castrated, which I remember writing that down as kind of weird because the younger brother is like, I don't remember that. Like, and I was like, how do you not remember?
Mitch, let's be fair. This younger brother has the worst memory, a worse memory than Guy Pearce in Memento. I mean, he can't remember anything.
Well, he's kind of an idiot.
Well, that's implied.
Because there's the pedophilia debate where he's like, oh, women can't be pedophiles.
Like, you are the worst. Lisa, what do you think with this guy's memory? Like, how many times did they mention that he doesn't remember things?
That was the confusing thing is I don't know how old he was when they left.
That's what I assume. He was like six.
No.
5.
They showed a picture. There was later on. There's a video of them, and he is like,
and he looks old.
He's a teenager, I think, when they left.
Okay,
then I don't know. Maybe
I think he's a teenager.
Maybe he got hit in the head with a rock or something.
Maybe
just a dum dum. Isn't that what I said? Two dum dums.
Yes.
So they're dumb in different ways.
Yeah,
but they're both dumb. Okay. Yeah. The older brother is like really controlling, but like not getting him anywhere, and the other guy's just like an idiot who can't remember things.
But the older brother
this is a great lead up for great things to happen in this movie.
Right.
The older brother's controlling in a trying to help way.
Whatever you tell yourself.
I think he thinks. Yeah, he thinks he is. Sure. But the younger brother clearly doesn't think so from what he says in this therapy.
Yeah.
In any case,
like Billy Zane. Billy Zane was trying to help in Titanic. Like that's basically what that is.
Jesus. So the little younger brother decides he wants to go back to the cult now that my
cult will go on.
Yeah. They want to go back to the cult. Jesus. I'm just gonna try to blaze right through that one. It's like it's an earworm. It goes in my ear and literally just like jacks up the engine in my mind.
Yeah.
And I can't. All right. So he decides he wants to go back to the cult. The older brother eventually kind of acquiesced and said, fine, this will get you out of your funk. Let's do it. Let's go to this cult. So let's talk about the cult. We've been dancing around it.
Yeah.
This cult called Camp Arcadia.
It's a summer camp
with Smiling Dave, Walmart greeting them all the way through the gate.
Yeah. The guy who has actually had a brain injury.
Yeah.
Now they weren't sure. I love this guy. This guy wears a white button-up shirt, which they cannot get him to take off.
Right.
And the premise for him being this way is, one, he got injured in a construction accident and fell on his head. Two, he tried to drill into his brain to permanently be high. Those are two very different options for why someone has brain damage. How is that possible? It's like, Mitch got in an accident. His leg got torn up. He got in a motorcycle accident, or he tried to saw off his own leg for some reason. Like, that's the level of difference of these two things. Yeah. Like, this is shady. You know it from the get-go for sure.
Right. Agreed.
But anyway, Camp Arcadia, like a summer camp for adults.
Yeah.
That has some random ascension stuff, but mainly you could drink a lot of beer and have nice food.
Well, yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead. Sure.
How many of our friends would get sucked into this cult because they have craft beer?
We would lose every one of our friends to the craft beer cult. Absolutely. I thought that too. I was like, every one of our friends is in this cult. Easy.
Yeah.
Assuming that the craft beer is an IPA and maybe a Saison, they are probably...
They're gone.
If they have some sort of sour beer, the pretentious people are there. It's over.
Oh my god! How is this cult? Now, I mean, today this cult should be much bigger. They're clearly not.
So if we need to make
a
cult, it needs to be a beer based cult.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it's a beer based cult, and then apparently their food is the best ever.
So could you say they're great at agriculture? There's hops. There's food. They're nailing it.
I don't know what to do with you, Nate.
I'm running out of words, but I'll get there.
So so let me ask you this: if you're running a cult and you need to get people, what are you serving for food? Because the food is apparently just great. That's what
I saw. A lot of vegetables. I saw a lot of nice looking things. It looked great.
Yeah,
it looked really good.
Yeah, the welcome package is great. I mean, certainly.
Yeah, better than ramen.
The second he got there, he's like, "Are you hungry? Of course you are. Come eat."
Yeah.
And the little brother harps on it so much. He's like, well, they had food. They had good food. Like, oh my gosh. Okay, calm down.
And older brother's like, well, we wouldn't have to eat ramen if you
would replace the car battery.
Didn't buy an old VHS camcorder to play the video we got.
Right. Well, then there's some about tattoos.
They're in dire straits.
Yeah.
Like, this is why cults this is why a lot of organizations in general can get people. It's like, look, you're living on ramen, cleaning people's houses.
We'll give you fresh veggies
right.
and craft beer. See, I told you.
I thought the craft beer would be the Kool-Aid. Like at one point, I was like, there's so much beer flowing around. Is something in this beer? Is it tainted? Are we in a wild country situation where they literally put hallucinogens and sedatives in beer that they give to homeless people?
Well, they had that flower stuff they were smoking.
Yeah, they had like a drug. That's what I was saying. Like, do they put the drug in the beer? And everyone was kind of like hallucinating together. I thought that'd be a bigger plot point. Yeah. But no, it's really all about the money. They're just like, we need money to do stuff. And this beer is good. And we have money. And basically like the younger version of the guy who shovels in Home Alone is the brewmaster with his awesome beard. And his creepy looks off in the distance.
Reference, yeah.
Thank you. Home Alone reference.
Now, was he there when they left? The Tim guy?
Yeah, they were almost all of them there. Except for the one lady who
painted. Wasn't.
The one lady who was looking for her husband and the one lady who painted. Everybody else, I think, was already there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, every cult has their mythology and what they believe in. We find that they believe there is a creature out in the wilderness that they worship and they don't know whether to call it God or whatever.
Who communicates with them.
Yeah, but they have they do several things, right? Yeah, it communicates through these VHS tapes. Communicates they have a thing called the struggle, which is like a tug of war with the creature. Is it not tug of war with the creature?
It's just like, it's so ridiculous. It's like the creature wins.
Yeah.
Shouldn't that be the result of everything?
I just wrote the struggle seems really dumb because I don't understand. Like at one point, I don't think he got any further. Like one of the brothers does it like twice, and he gets to a point, and then the rope just drops. And then he gets to another point, the rope just drops. And somehow the second time was better than the first. but it looked like the same. I don't know what we were doing here, but it seemed really dumb.
But Anna was the reigning champ.
Of what? Pulling the rug?
I'm struggling. I've struggled more than you. Yeah, I don't know. I actually kind of liked it. Because it was like a metaphor for like, oh, I'm working through my shit, right? And if I can beat this dark sky monster,
what I didn't understand
already getting sucked in
is okay. So here's the other thing I want to know from you two. At what point are you Splitsville? Because the second that I saw that rope coming out of the air, I'm like, I'm out.
I'm actually out before that. There's a magic trick that happens that would actually freak me the fuck out. He goes, pick a card, any card. And then
was that before the struggle?
Yes, it was I believe so. Yeah, because they were waiting around to do it. And then he says, we're going to get a little bit culty. And that's when they do the struggle. So that was awesome. He does a magic trick. He's like, hey, pick a card. Does this fancy card trick. And then he's like, that's not my card. Like, you suck. And he's like, all right, fine. I suck. I'll show you this trick. Throws a baseball up, catches it. Knocks it on something. Hey, this is a legit baseball. Throws it up again, catches it. That seems reasonable. Throws it up again. It doesn't come down for like 30 seconds. Opens the other guy's hand, puts that down. He catches it. Once that happens, out.
That would win on Penn and Teller's Fool Us.
It would.
Right.
It would. It would win everything.
I don't think Penn and Teller would know how
win
that would
at
work.
getting me out of there as fast as humanly possible. I'm like, I'm out on this.
There's so much I'm out. Like when he goes for the run and then all of a sudden he sees the pictures on the ground. Like the sun goes out for a second and then comes back.
Yeah, but that was even later than all of this. That was
I know,
after
but
the
I'm just
struggle.
saying shit kept happening where I would have been like gone and he just stays.
Yeah, I mean, in my notes, I have like a little thing I just put WTF for like just crazy shit that happens. And there's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
There's like, there's 2 moons. What?
No.
Out.
That's the reflective winds.
Fuck you.
Of the
It's like
solar panels.
The solar winds,
yeah.
the flare. There's 2 moons because of those. It's an optical illusion.
Ooh.
I'm out on the 2 moons. 2 moons happen. I'm out. Again, none of this makes any sense. Oh, it's crazy.
Yeah.
What about you, Mitch? What was the turning point for you? And I'm out very early.
I mean, having to do the stupid struggle, probably.
Okay, this
is dumb.
And it's not because you're scared, it's just because you think it's stupid.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, like, you want me to like pull this random rope that's in the air? I'm out on you.
Yeah.
Like, that would be it?
Pretty much.
Okay. All right.
Well, in fact, when they say, too, it's Smiling Dave, and Smiling Dave's in the background behind you.
But all their focus was like ahead, and I guess he like snuck back around. I don't know.
It wasn't Smiling Dave. It was the monster.
Yeah, but you think it's Smiling Dave because he runs out to go take the rope in the first place.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. It's Smiling Dave on a ladder. I was like, are you freaking... That's your explanation for this?
I mean, it's a more logical explanation than weird Lovecraft sky deity.
So speaking of weird Lovecraft sky deity, so eventually we get to the point where these brothers figure out what the hell's going on.
Kind of. Do they ever really figure it out? 100%?
I mean, I'm just gonna go for it. They figure out that everyone is stuck in some sort of loop, short or long.
Multiple
where
There's multiple loops.
They basically have to die and start over. And some of them are a seconds long and some of them are 10 years long. So,
or there could be longer loops.
So my question for you guys is, I feel like I caught it fairly early on in the movie that's what's going on. So do y'all remember what point you were like, oh, they're in a loop?
Well, I mean,
or at least they're stuck there.
They literally show a clock going backward.
I think I think I got a hint. When they first get to the cold and they realize, oh, we've been gone for 10 years, but somehow all these people look the same age as us.
They're eating real healthy.
Yeah,
but they don't say they look exactly the same. They say they look good for their age. They don't say they look exactly the same.
But
they
when
don't say
it's
that.
been...
No, but they even mentioned it was weird. And then, of course...
he said she's at least 20 years older than you. And
yeah. And then, of course, when you see Hal doing like the pretty complicated math equation, he kind of starts talking. He has a quote in there, and I didn't write it down.
He says nothing because he said, "You guys are going to end yourselves," and he goes, "I promise you, nothing here ends."
Yeah, I think that's about when I was like, "Yeah, we've got some time bendy thing happening."
Yeah, that's related to the.
I didn't know
assumption.
that it was these individual pods, and everyone's on their own individual loop. And like, yeah, some are aggressively short. One guy, just
3-4 seconds.
Yeah,
that poor guy. And I like even through his awful short loop, he still was trying to help the little brother. He was like, "Get out of here."
Yeah. So some of these loops. Let's just talk real quick. What was some of your favorite scenes from these loops? Anything that stuck out?
This director combination's first movie, Resolution, is the same people in one of the scenes. So there's a scene, there's a gun-toting or gun nut tweaker. That's exactly
gun nut
right.
tweaker, yeah.
There's a gun nut tweaker that the one lady talks about when she was high on hold on, I have to get all the drugs right.
Oh, yeah.
Here. There's a combination. It's lithium, thorazine, and PCP. So when she was on those drugs, she was obsessed with
it's
this
the
guy.
PCP that threw her over the edge, really.
Probably.
Yeah.
I would assume. You can take one drug out and she's like, I'll be normal. But all three, apparently not a good combination. But this guy, the tweaker dude, is there. His friend, which is the premise of their first movie, Resolution, goes to help him and weird shit happens, right? To help his friend get clean and weird shit happens. Then the guy's like, we keep doing this over and over again. Older brother, like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
So you don't end up like us. And then he gives him a gun. He gets a gun, and then they light the whole cabin on fire and kill themselves. And then he's like, and he says like, he starts like putting the gas down, and he's like telling him like, oh, I really want to like do this on my own instead of letting the
a couple people say that
God monster thing. He goes. And he like has the match. He goes, because fuck you. And then he lights the match. Like, oh shit, that was awesome.
Because the hanging guy says the same thing. He goes, I'd rather go out on my terms than his terms.
Yeah.
But the gun nut tweaker guy and Mike, it was to me the best line of the movie when he goes, if I have to hear you say at the beginning one more time, oh look, it's fucking Mike.
And what do you hear? You hear that again as soon as he leaves. He's like, yep, because they reset the loop. So the loops reset in their certain areas. The areas are denoted by weird rock formation structure, totem pole things.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then when you kill yourself, your loop restarts.
Right.
And you don't see shit in the loop until you cross the threshold of the rock pole things.
Now here's a weird thing though. Why did that one guy who gave the older brother the map, how was he able to exist as himself and hung? Because he was like the only one that there was two of them. That was weird.
Because it wasn't, I don't know.
That to me was the only.
When you're dead, it's not you. So it's like you're
you're just not feeling yourself when you're hungry.
When you're hung.
When you're hungry.
Hungry.
Wow.
Yeah, no, that didn't make sense to me. I know, because no one else. Because once you kill yourself, it's supposed to restart the loop.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure.
What do you mean when you lose your faculties?
Yes.
Wow.
God.
That was also another. I mean, I shouldn't say great part because it was not because he shot himself, but just seeing him shoot himself and then 1 second later, God damn it.
Yeah, they keep saying the same things. It's weird. Now, did you think this worked? Did the time going over and over again in certain it's always a circular boundary.
Yeah.
There's circles everywhere. There's circles in the clouds in the beginning. Birds are in circles. It's kind of giving away where the loops are on their way in, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Do you think this plot point, which is the main plot point of the whole movie, works?
Yeah, I think so.
You think it works?
Yeah.
I didn't
have an issue with it.
Yeah, I didn't have a overall.
I'm still kind of like, I'm not sure. So I guess in theory, what's supposed to be happening is there's this Lovecraft sky monster who's like, I just want to fuck with these guys.
Pretty much.
Time loop.
Yeah.
And I just run it on a schedule. So like you got your loop, you got your loop, you got your loop. When there's 4 moons and shit, I reset everything. Like, what is happening here?
I remember I read online. I saw some interview with them because I was looking up something about the movie, and they likened it to the creature actually being like a typical movie audience or like us in the audience, right? That these loops, very much in another Rick and Morty episode, you know, remember the collector, right? Where they're in the little box and he tricks some woman and another guy to come in and they change clothes and they bail on him.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that scene at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, that this creature is really just watching them. This is like just a movie to him. It's like, let me watch this movie again. This one's
the
one's
audience
great.
wants you to keep doing this thing and not do anything different and
exactly.
Like lock it in.
This is So I thought from that perspective it's pretty clever.
But it's not clever. But when you're watching the movie, you don't get that at all.
I got it. I mean,
you got that a film audience was the ones making these time loops.
Not a film audience.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, I get this that the thing's watching him, right? Because it's constantly showing film, right? How does he communicate with everyone?
Yeah, the pictures,
film and pictures.
Yeah,
this is what he sees.
Camcorder.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just fucking with him.
Yeah, he's just watching. He's the watcher. This
is like a trickster. It's almost a trickstery Loki kind of situation going on here.
So real briefly, let's just get to the kind of ending with this. They've gone through a number of these time loops. They have reunited and they're trying to get out before the
fourth moon.
Yeah, before the third moon.
Or is it the third moon?
Third moon.
Okay.
The third moon.
There's a shit ton of moons.
There's a lot of moons.
And the moons are like, it's like a normal like waxing, situation where it gets bigger. So, it's like, that's like the overall time.
Yeah. So the original 10-year loop that they had escaped beforehand.
Right before it got reset.
Yeah. They're close to being caught in again. So they're trying to rush out. The Watcher is just destroying all sorts of shit.
So you can either kill yourself or let the sky monster fucking murder you.
Oh yeah, that was a brutal scene.
Murder.
Yeah.
Like just blood explosions pulling you into the sky. It was almost a Wizard of Oz-esque like twister kind of going on. Like it was nuts.
Yeah. So we see the brothers running, trying to push their car because again, nice little tie point. Because they didn't get the battery, the car isn't starting. Yeah. So they have to get it moving. And then
now, if this was you and your brother's movie, you're dead.
He's leaving me as soon as
this is where you are 100% dead.
Yeah. Okay. So the brothers do reconcile. They get in the car and they drive off. My question to you is: do they actually escape the time loop, or are they stuck in their own time loop?
They escape. And one more thing I want to mention is before they leave, the younger brother's like, "Should we just stay here in the 10-year time loop?"
That to me was one of the saddest parts of the movie, though, because
at least I don't have to eat ramen all the fucking time.
Because he essentially told his brother, he goes, "We're living in a shitty loop, back where we're from. What the hell's the difference? At least here we have friends and we have food."
Yeah, I was like,
damn.
Do you want to go do you want to eat ramen every day, or do you want to live in a time loop in classic steakhouse of Houston, Taste of Texas? I mean, come on.
Well, it's
I choose the time loop where I get the steak. That's the one.
Well, it's really about do you want to stay where you know everything, you know what's going to happen. There's no second guessing. You can just
it's a Cheers scenario.
Live, yeah.
Everybody knows.
It's a Groundhog Day scenario, right? I mean,
it's always with Cheers though.
Yeah. Or do you go into the unknown, which is what does every day bring? You don't have to worry about where food's going to come from, where money's going to come from, where
my brother being a dick to me all the time. Well, that would have
happened.
That would have continued if they both stayed.
Either way,
still,
yeah, that's a guarantee, regardless in either.
And I guess one of the main things is that that they mentioned.
I'm just gonna let it run. I'll cut that. We'll just jump in.
Okay,
there. Okay, so they do. Regardless, they do try to get out of there.
Yeah.
They do make the decision they're not going to stay. Although I will say this, when he is sitting there going like, "Oh, we should probably stay here," he's saying that because he knows he's getting in that 10-minute loop. If he was in the 3-second loop, I don't think he'd be as
10-year loop. You mean
Or 10-year loop. Sorry,
Yeah.
I don't think he'd be in that like 3-second loop. Be like, oh yeah, that sounds great.
He's like, I slept with a girl. He's like, oh, sleep with a girl? Like, no, we closed our eyes and lost consciousness together. Like, what?
He's like, oh, you literally.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
slept with.
me and this girl, we held hands for a little bit. We lost consciousness together. Who knows what could
There's
happen?
a lot
10 years.
that I feel like he doesn't know. Did he just not learn it in the cult? Like he just.
I think the cult really did a number on these people.
They gotta worry about making that craft beer, not teaching these kids nothing.
Yeah.
Right?
Again, this is why this is Cheers.
They got that. Jesus. So they do end up trying to leave. The last thing you really see is the truck hitting the barrier, and it looks like it explodes, but then they break through. But
supposedly,
yeah. But that's the thing. So I want to ask your quick thoughts. Do you think that they actually have escaped and they're kind of working on that path to redemption, or are they stuck in a loop, or does it really matter in the context of what this movie's about?
I think that they have escaped into a larger loop, and they are still going to be looping. Yep.
Okay.
I don't want to say too much because I don't want to ruin my sequel.
Okay, yeah. Go ahead.
Because when they're on the road and they stop where the mom died, they see one of those volcano poles, whatever they call them. I don't know.
Volcano poles.
Well, because remember he says what causes that, and he says like volcanic
activity and
something.
erosion.
Yeah. So I don't know. And then there's the whole thing at the very, very end where he's like, "Oh, we need gas," and he's like, "We don't need gas," and I'm like, "Well, I don't." Yes, you do need gas. So what are you talking about?
That dude hasn't driven a car
These guys are
30 years.
Idiots.
So. Yeah, they're dum-dums.
Yeah,
they're idiots.
So that to me, though, really is what bothered me about the whole movie was just that uncertainty.
Yeah.
I didn't like are they in a loop? Are they not in a loop? Did they get out?
I didn't mind that necessarily. I don't think I minded that they're in another loop.
Do you think that they made it that ambiguous because they want to make another movie?
Well, definitely making another movie. Oh. This is the endless cinematic universe. Oh, Marvel should probably steal that name just in case to try to copyright it. But
they did say, I was reading a bunch of interviews with them after because I just wanted to, and they were like, "Yeah, we thought it was so cool. We were able to build a whole universe on such a cheap budget."
Yeah, it's awesome. I think they did a pretty good job of setting up what this world is, right, Mitch? I mean,
it's an interesting premise. I'd be curious to see how many more of these around the world. Is it just localized, or are there other creatures that have the same thing in other? Or is it just this area?
Yeah,
right.
I kind of wish I had watched that other one before I watched
Resolution.
This. Yeah. I still could go back and watch it.
It's smaller scale, and then this was large. I mean, I assume that it would be the next one would be the larger.
I guess if you had watched it, you already would have known coming into this what the deal was.
You should watch Spring though, for sure.
Yeah, I heard that was good.
It is fantastic. Yeah. Again, I'm saying that, so take that with a grain of salt. Unsuspecting victims.
Very true. Never mind, don't watch it.
So I think at this point, I kind of want to get into it. I want to ask you both, what would you have done differently?
Son of a bitch, you left the bodies and you only moved the headstones! You only moved the headstones! Why?
Nate, what do you do differently in this?
So I'm going to put myself in the place of the Lovecraft sky deity monster face thing. You are communicating with your followers. I think one of the plot points that was crucial to getting in the time loop was also that you give yourself up to the deity, I guess. Because they hadn't done that. They were able to go through the time loops. I forgot to mention that. But
yeah, because doesn't someone say, don't give in, don't apologize, just run away?
Yeah, exactly. Right. So I think that helped them. So if I'm the sky deity monster thing and I'm communicating with people in a way that will get them to give into me, right? And be in my loops and allow me to fuck with them for eternity, I guess, right? Isn't that ostensibly what's happening?
Right.
Maybe I communicate in more modern fashions. So instead of Polaroids, let me just put a Google Photos thing on your phone. Or instead of camcorders, let's let's get an HD screen in this cult. And I can basically make a Lovecraft smart TV or some shit and put something on there.
So the Lovecraftian monster is the one that sent the tape, right?
Yeah, it can fashion tapes out of literally nothing.
Yeah.
And
But
send it to
send
somebody.
the tape at the very beginning.
If you can do that, you can use Gmail. Like, you can text somebody.
Get
It's
with
not
the
that hard.
times.
Like, send them a text. Here's the photo of you looking at the sky. I'm in the sky. I'm texting you back. It's that easy. Like they have at one point there's an old like 1960s like slide projector that they walk past, and because they haven't given in yet, he flings the sky deity flings it like 8 million feet into this gorge. Use more modern methods. Maybe there'd be more people of this Camp Arcadia, and you'd have more people to mess with.
Yeah.
I
think normally we talk about the characters. I'm going to take a step back. I'm going to talk about the brothers as directors. If I'm them, I'm maybe shelling out a little extra money to get that House of the Rising Sun royalty or license.
No, it's public domain.
Well, then do it right. Holy shit! At least
The lyrics are.
The lyrics are public domain.
But
That's what I'm saying.
Not the animals version.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
60s.
Why don't you get the license for that? Because that annoyed the shit out of me.
Why all the different versions of House of the Rising Sun that happened, like the 100?
Yeah, well, none of them were good. None of them were good. Not a one of them was good. Very
well. If you don't spend money for that, you have a House of the Rising bank account, Mitch.
Well,
and that's what they were going for.
I disagree.
And that's not royalty free.
Yeah, no, I would not have held a talent show night and done that one for sure.
Hey, everybody! One of the main reasons to be in the cult, other than pulling on this random rope, is public domain karaoke night.
Yeah,
let's get into it.
Yeah,
Jimmy cracked corn, but I do care about it.
Christ.
Let's hear you guys sing. Lisa, that's literally what the night was. It was nuts. Yeah. I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah, it was no bueno. Lisa, what do you do differently?
So I think, and we never got to meet this character, but their mom passed away.
Yeah, in a burning car.
In a burning car.
Yeah.
That's how they got to the cult.
So I don't know I think they didn't, but I was reading an article. Apparently, I can't remember which of the directors. One of them, his mom did pass away 3 days before they started filming. So it was like very intense and emotional. And his dad apparently was also working on set. So they were like trying to work through the whole, like they said they made the movie as like a grieving process too. But that's an aside. But I think if I was the mom, I probably would have had a will set up and not let my sons get adopted by a cult. I'm like, really? They didn't have any other family?
Lisa, adopted
I don't think there was
kidnapped.
Lisa, I don't think there was a formal process.
Yeah, but
they didn't interview.
I think there was like...
You don't think anyone would have come looking for them?
No.
Not for a van in the middle of the desert. I mean, even if they did look for them, where do you find them? And then I think when they escaped, they probably hooked back up with people, or there was no one in this family, which is why they're so fucked in the future, because they had no one to hang out with.
I mean, there must have been no family left.
There must have been no family, yeah.
Yeah.
Even Harry Potter got adopted by the Dursleys. I mean, come on. There's got to be...
Back to Harry Potter again.
You know I had to work it out.
Lisa, I am surprised you looked up this movie more than I did. How? Is it you say what you will, but apparently this movie got to you because you looked up a lot of things.
So what I was going to say earlier, and then you guys reminded me of it, the other thing that scares the heck out of me, and I didn't want to mention it because it pretty much gives away most of the movie, is the endless eternity time loops. That
is very scary to me as well.
Yeah. Me to be stuck in a loop for all of eternity. It's giving me the heebie-jeebies right now. I can't do it. That's also why we did Krampus. That's why the ending of Krampus scares the crap out of me because they're stuck.
Yeah, you're stuck in a snow globe.
It's awful.
I would like to go back and revisit what I would do differently. Sure. If I'm the monster and I'm going to all this effort to
you're saying what I would do differently for my own. What would I do differently?
Yeah. If I'm the monster and I'm spending all this effort to bring two idiots back that. I mean, why?
Was it a lot of effort? All I did was like $4 in shipping for a package. I mean, come on, that's not that much effort.
I mean, but I don't know. How did he get to the post office? How did he ship
Lovecraft
it?
Sky
Why did
Monster.
he even ship it? He could just made it appear.
He sent the birds.
Well, that's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering if this could be a stork situation. Is that what you're saying? I'm wondering if there's only a circle of influence for this monster.
And why did he take a gamble that they actually had a recorder they could play it on?
Right. Yeah. Send that shit on a USB stick.
I was saying like text message, or maybe they didn't. Oh, they had a lot of money.
These guys didn't have phone. They barely could afford ramen. But here's more my point. If they didn't go into how these pods come up, but there's multiple of them. It seems like this creature can just create pods. So maybe
time loop areas.
Yeah.
Right, physical areas where the time loop is contained. Yeah.
Right. So if once they're there, why don't you just make a new pod right there? Boom, done.
No, he's like, look, I got a lot of conflicting Google Calendar entries. All right, and I got a weekly schedule. I got a daily schedule. I have some tasks to do during the day.
Oh my god!
I got to run all this stuff. So once the weekly thing's done, then you're locked in. I don't know.
All right. Well, with that said, let's talk sequels.
Let's face it, baby. These days, you gotta have a sequel. Ah!
I'm gonna jump first. I've got a double hitter for you, Nate.
Oh shit.
Okay.
Double hitter.
Okay. We've got a creature that can create their own media that can potentially pull you into a loop, or
is this a multimedia company? Is this where you're going?
What if this creature teams up with? Oh no, or better yet, this is gonna be one of those versus movies. Samara versus the Ring versus this, because it's like, oh, which tape kills you? It's just battle the VHS tapes.
Oh shit! Okay, like, the Ring will kill you in 7 days, but this will make your time loop 7 days.
Samara is going to go after the creature because it's taking all the people from into these time loops.
No, she's like, look, since you are a Lovecraft Sky monster, I can't sue you in the court of law, or because I would sue you for copyright infringement. So, if barring that, I will come after you to try to fight you. Is that what you're saying?
Or make it a rom-com.
Wow.
I will say that this cult is very good at fixing stuff, because they had a drowned tape they got to play. They had a jacked up hard drive they got to work. I'm like, shoot, they should start their own Genius Bar at this point.
Yeah, agreed. I will say my second real quick, very in that same kind of vein. This movie, but Looper also works in, and so Bruce Willis pops up in one of the loops within a loop, and it's just loop inception all over the place.
Loop to loop.
Is this movie called Loop to Loop? Yes.
Yes.
Done.
I love it.
Done.
Loop to Loop.
Book it, Dano.
Oh,
Lisa, what? I don't know. If you're going to do a sequel to this movie, what are you going to do?
And you have to beat Loop to Loop, which is not going to be.
Okay, I'm not beating Loop to Loop. That's just, there's no way. I think my sequel, and they kind of actually already alluded to it in one of their interviews, so I hope they actually do it. But they basically talk about, is there an ability to break free of these loops? And I think they actually said one person has.
I think they did describe that. I don't think they mentioned how.
No.
So that could be in the
So
sequel.
I think I would be very interested to see them take this a step further and go back and see actually someone break out of one of the loops.
Okay.
Figure out how to do it.
So your movie's called Break the Cycle.
Yes. Yes, pretty much.
Yeah. Okay.
What about you, Nate?
Break the Cycle. Sounds like a Stained album up in here. Reference. Okay. Mine sequel is
Aaron Lewis shows up.
Yeah. And messes up the national anthem, which is what I remember him for. The sequel for me is, okay, so Resolution, the first movie from these guys is the like a single setting movie where shit gets real. This is more of like a small region where things go crazy, right? They escape supposedly into the larger time loop. So I'm hoping that the next movie is them, because they're the main actors. They keep it low budget, so they act, right? So same people, they're the brothers. They are in a time loop that is even bigger, and they end up learning more about the actual Lovecraft Sky Monster. Like, you actually get a little bit more of it, and they try to defeat it.
Okay.
That would be cool. They'd be fighting against the Lovecraft monster, trying to break out of the time loop.
Nice.
I think
with their newfound brotherly bond. Two brothers.
Yeah,
exactly.
They're all over.
Two brothers, one monster.
They're fighting the Lovecraft monster, and then things get real. I don't know. But I don't know what I would call this. I'm trying to think. I was trying to
say two brothers against a monster.
Yeah.
and flying ninjas.
Yeah. I was going to call it Relentless But that's so terrible. Even for me, I couldn't.
Yeah,
put
that's
that,
pretty bad.
I couldn't put that on a poster.
That's bad.
Can I pitch one more quick segment before we end?
Sure.
What I like to know, if you guys didn't like the ending, what would you have done differently for the ending of the movie? Because I had an idea of something I thought was going to happen that I thought would have been pretty cool, but then they didn't do it.
Well, what is it?
What was your-
This could go into your sequel.
I was
or direct. This
thinking-
could be the director's cut into the sequel.
I was thinking that as soon as there's two things. When they hit the wall, it looks like there's an oncoming car.
Yeah.
And upon further reflection, it's the reflection.
Well, no. I think it was the time loop starting. They were right at the end. That was actually them entering. That would have been where their loop started.
Okay.
Yeah, for 10 years.
All right.
Yeah.
So what I was hoping it was that when they hit it, their loop started again, and it was with the car crash, and it's the cult finding them.
That car ran into the car with the mom.
For half a second, I thought they were going to actually cause the car crash,
shit.
and that's what causes the
fire in the car, which caused the mom to die.
And then the cult finds them, and then they start all over. So they're more on like a 20-year loop.
Yeah, that would have been better.
Yeah, I thought that would have been a cool ending, but I didn't know if you guys had
but
had
then
any other thoughts.
that doesn't lend for the sequel though, because then it kind of
Well, no, I know,
itself. Yeah,
but
that'd have been interesting.
Yeah. So I didn't know if you guys had thoughts on alternate endings, or if you were
I
cool
don't think
with
that
what
would have
happened.
worked because they escaped before the last reset, so they wouldn't have been in that reset because it's only the 10-year cycle. So that it would have been too many.
But
away.
like you said, they're in a bigger 20-year cycle.
Oh
outside.
shit! You're saying it was the outside is the 20-year,
Right.
And the 20 year is where the car with the mom and
then
the
Exactly.
themselves
The 10
comes
year.
in.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then they leave the area, so I guess they would have to determine like what the area is.
I know. We would have had to rough out the details, but
This is like Primer. Did you guys ever see Primer?
I don't think
Holy
so.
shit! Watch Primer.
are you talking about Looper?
No, Primer. Amazon Primer.
Oh,
Get it
God.
anywhere videos are sold.
All right, let's move to our last segment.
Final cut.
Lisa, what are you giving this movie in your final cut?
I'm struggling with this one.
Me too. You're not the only one.
Yeah, I think it was well done. I applaud them for not showing the monster, even though I know that was because they had no budget. And they also said in an interview, they're like, if we were going to show that monster, we would have had to like
really
do a really good job and get people we could not afford to do a great job. I don't know. I'm trying to think. I'd probably give it.
I think you like this.
I
think you like this movie.
When I watched it and we saw the ending, I was pissed.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I felt like it was a cop out.
That is a natural reaction to a movie that Nate suggests for the podcast.
I'm surprised it took you this long to say you hated it at one point. All right. So that means I'm winning. I am wearing the unsuspecting victims of the world down with my I don't know. I don't know how you would say it, but I'm wearing you guys down. It seems like.
Yeah, so I think you are sadly breaking me down. It's not good, Nate.
You're not the only one. We had a lot of new listeners. Also, thanks for listening, guys.
Yeah.
And thanks for putting up with me. Wow. Talk about the real horror.
Right? No kidding. I guess I'm gonna go 6 out of 10.
Wow.
time
Okay.
loops. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like I said, and I said it on another episode. I don't remember which one it was. We've had some really, really bad movies. So those have been a really great shitty baseline for some of this stuff. So I mean, it was very well done. Did I like the ending? No, but I'm hoping there will be a sequel. I
hope
really
so.
am.
I hope so too.
Yeah.
So so you think like, oh, Nate was just picking all these shitty movies, but really it was 3-dimensional chess coming from me to set up the other weird movies that I was gonna do. I can't lose.
You're like, I have to take you to the very bottom.
Yeah, I have to break you down.
I have to make you watch Tourist Trap so that everything else will look good in comparison.
Jack Frost. Thanksgiving. After that, you're very amenable. Not unlike a cult. Am I setting up a cult with this podcast?
Apparently.
Holy shit.
What would you give it, Nate?
Yeah, so I have no clue about. I did not write down a rating, which I almost never do. I usually rate it right away because I wanted to talk about the movie more and see kind of what I thought about it listening to you guys talk, because it's kind of it's confusing a little bit. It's not too bad, but it's a little confusing. And there's a lot of shit going on and a lot of themes that you have to kind of maybe think about. This movie almost seems like it'd be better if you watched it a second time, kind of like Hereditary, to pick out some of the things that you missed and that led to like the small little actions that occur early in the movie that set up like the whole premise that you didn't really realize, right, until part of the way through. So I think I'm going to go with Lisa on this and go with the 6 out of 10 6 out of 10 IPAs.
Nice.
And I love that in the movie, you think like, this cult is all about living or whatever. And he's like, no, I fucking hate you, dude, because we couldn't sell our beer as well after you said we were a UFO death cult. Like, just to put a little, like, this is like one of the more rational, real cults that we've talked about in any of these movies, Mitch. I think I agree. I definitely agree. It's like, we couldn't sell our beer. Okay, fuck you.
Yeah.
We're trying to sell beer. This beer is good. You said it yourself. You like it. This Hefeweizen is amazing. Yeah. The guy from Home Alone, younger version, is crushing it as the brewmaster.
Right.
It's like, stop fucking with our livelihoods. Love it. I love that part. That was great. So 6 out of 10 IPAs for me.
Oh man! So what we're at? You said 6 out of 10 IPAs.
Yeah, she said 6. I said 6, that's kind of shocking. When I didn't think that would maybe happen.
Yeah,
You're a little lower on it. Yeah.
No, actually, I'm between 6 and a 7.
Whoa!
I'm gonna go 6 out of 10. I don't know.
666? Is that what's happening?
Yeah, 6 out of 10 shitty VHS tapes. Man, I really liked it. I think that they did Lovecraft type horror better than a lot of other recent entries with bigger budgets.
The Void versus this.
The Void is I think at the time I enjoyed The Void. I enjoyed The Void for a different reason though. I enjoyed The Void because I did like the special effects and the
practical effects.
The practical effects and all of that, yeah.
But looking back comparing to this movie,
they're just, I would put them almost about the same, but they're just too different.
Okay. Wow.
They're just two different types. So, I think if you are a big Lovecraft fan, you'll like both of them. If you're not normally a huge Lovecraft fan, I feel like if you're not a major Lovecraft fan, you will like this one more than you would like The Void.
Sure. Well, as is voiced by Lisa's. What did she give The Void last time? A 1?
I think everyone,
it's
except for me.
It's one of our very early episodes. So
I think I was the only one that actually liked it.
Yeah.
The only thing that really keeps me from giving this higher is, again, the music. I don't know why the hell's the
They didn't want to spend money on the music.
Then do a different song, man. I don't know. Make up your own. If you're just gonna bum
Yo ho
lyrics.
ho, little brown jug.
But they did it a lot. It's not. If it was just like one time in the movie, this song comes in like 4 or 5 times in this movie.
Yeah, because if you sing Yankee Doodle Dandy at a karaoke show,
that's fine.
No one cares.
That's fine. I sing This Is a Song That Never Ends about 30 minutes a night every night to get little Damien to sleep. But I do it the right goddamn way.
Yeah, but that secretly he's like, do a better song.
No, that's how he goes to sleep. He eventually if I just close my eyes, he'll go away. He'll stop doing this.
Yeah. So they don't want the audience to do that. Come on, Mitch.
No. So I mean, in all reality, I'd give it 6 out of 10. It could be done higher with a bigger budget. I think that
this could be fantastic.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think this is one of the times where having the small budget, I think, hurt them.
And if you like this movie, maybe check out The Ritual on Netflix. Where they show it's kind of similar-y, less Lovecrafty, more like European folklore troll, kind of like forest people kind of thing. Yeah. But they show the monster a little bit. You get a little bit more tangible feeling for monsters.
Yeah, this movie wasn't as
maybe that's a follow-up one to watch.
Yeah, this movie wasn't as bleak as some other cult / these type of films are.
No,
so I appreciated that. But yeah. All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up for this week's episode. Nate, where can they find us?
Yeah. So you can find us, as always, at our website, TexasPodcastMassacre.com. You can tweet us and all of your cult related stories, opinions at TX Massacre. Subscribe, rate, and review us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, TuneinRadio, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and all your other podcast platforms.
All right. Well, once again, thank you all for listening in. And from all of us here at Texas Podcast Massacre, just keep telling yourself it's only a movie. Good night.